welcome back, everybody, to Swirl Cinema. Oh my God!
It's been a minute. Nice to see you.
Wow, thank you for staying tuned in this long. Sorry, it's been a minute, but we're busy people, and we're just trying our best to get our groove on with this thing. You know,
life happens, and God laughs, so we're trying to laugh along with him.
But today we are here to review Novocaine, which is the latest release here with Jack Quaid. He's really popping these days.
We just saw him in Companion as well. It was like the last 2 times we've been to the theaters were just to see him, which I ain't mad at. And then obviously we'll be excited to welcome him back for the last season of The Boys, which we're big fans of.
Yep.
But let's talk about this really fun. So we went in it, like, we'd seen the trailer.
Yeah, what were your expectations going in? Let's start there.
So,
I think that's a good place to start.
Seen the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, what a delightful, what a fun, interesting movie." Let's check it out. For those of you who don't know, Jack Quaid plays Nathan Kane, aka Novocaine, a man who cannot feel pain, or his brain does not register pain receptors.
Yes. So it's a medical condition. He's not a superhero.
No.
He's just
and his entire life he has led kind of a bit in isolation, sequestering himself from the world for fear of, ironically, being hurt. And when the girl of his dreams is kidnapped in a bank robbery gone horribly wrong, he takes up the mantle of a superhero, technically, and rescues her. I was so delighted by this, honestly delighted. From the choreography to the writing to the acting, you get these amazing camera choices as well from the cinematographer. It just felt like a really well-made movie, and I love nothing more than a well-made movie with a like a 5-person cast, and that's really what it was.
Yeah, smaller cast. Yeah.
It was honestly just charming is the word I'd use.
That's what we walked away. That was like the thematic word of our general reaction, because I think for the sake of like establishing what expectations were, trailer for me really gave this energy of kind of like, we'll just kind of check the boxes to get to the action scenes.
Exactly.
Here's this concept where a guy doesn't feel pain, and have you seen Crank before?
No.
Crank is this Jason Statham movie from a while ago where he like technically dies, but he's given adrenaline to stay alive. He's like given this robotic heart that requires adrenaline.
Okay.
So he has to maintain a certain level of adrenaline in order to stay alive. So he like shocks himself with things.
I'd kind of like to see that, because I also honestly love Jason Statham.
Crank is one of those like high concept character has something about them that puts them into action sequences kind of thing. It had a bit of that, and Crank is a good movie as far as I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it felt it had a bit of that staple. And when I saw like Jack Quaid in a version of that, it was a bit of that like, oh, he's gonna be his Jack Quaid-y, quirky kind of like charming self, and it's like that can carry itself only so far. And the trailer to me didn't sell me enough on how much originality or whatever. It's just like this looks fun. They got their idea. They've got some fun ways to make jokes around it, and the guy will save the girl, and we're good to go. And then when we sit down to watch the movie, I was really invested within the first like half hour. Yeah, they really take their time to adds a lot of charm and charisma to who he is as a character and the relationship he's developing with this love interest that leads to her being kidnapped at the bank. And I don't know, I was really just impressed by how emotionally connective and interested I got scene by scene. They didn't just kind of like, because in the trailer they're like, you just had a one-night stand with this girl and then she gets kidnapped, and when I was like, I don't know if I care enough about this random one-night stand, but when you see it in action, there's so much of like awe or funny. Like we saw this in theaters, and we're big advocates for seeing movies in the theaters.
Yes, support your local movie theaters.
Go out to see
keep
movies.
Them alive. That's how we keep this industry alive.
Yes, and part of the fun was laughing along with the audience.
Yes.
And we even had someone starting like slow claps over and over.
I noticed this really amazing trend recently in going to the movie theaters where 9 out of 10 times the movie theater will be pretty packed, or at least you're not just there with like your friends. Like it's
rare for it to just be a scattered crowd of like whatever. But we do live in LA. We do live in Hollywood.
Of course.
It's reasonable to think
recognizing that. But I completely agree. His chemistry with his co-star Amber Midthunder, who you might know from Prey, which is an amazing film.
Great movie.
It really goes a long way to carry along that story. And their relationship is the main motivating factor for why he is, saving her, and he doesn't know her that well. But it's this great, like, if you had the chance to feel that way with someone for the rest of your life, wouldn't you want to take it, And it's just really endearing, and it endears him to the audience.
And part of that endearment, I think, comes from the way they approach his condition, because I was just thinking they'll give it kind of a basic setup of like, I can't feel pain, but whatever, and then he's like swept into this dangerous situation. But they really take their time more so at the beginning to make it more so like, no, this is a handicap. He struggles with a lot of his life, like his childhood was difficult. He, on a day by day, he's like not antisocial, but like he struggles with a social life,
isolation,
and like he can't even eat solid food.
Exactly, something as simple as eating. He's scared that, like, because he can't feel the sensation of possibly biting off his tongue, he can do that and choke to death.
And he was limited through his parents being cautious, which is understandable, but it's limited the way he's been able to experience his life. And now this girl comes along to maybe push that boundary a little bit and
open his world up and his worldview up. And it's really great. There's Jack, Amber Midthunder, Jacob Batalon, who's this guy in the chair who you might know from the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland.
Who isn't in it as much as I was expecting.
Which is fine.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Some cops that are trying to, also do their own investigation.
Hilarious cops.
Which have some of the best
my God.
comedy. And once again, we have Jack Nicholson's son popping on the scene as the main adversary.
What else is he in?
He's been in Smile 2.
Oh, Smile 2. Oh, he's in that. He's like in the trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I know.
You didn't see it either, right?
No, I know, but I want to, but you don't want to.
I want to. I want to see it.
Okay. And he has such an iconic face that when he was smiling, I was like, I know this man's face. And it's like, great, because you have your father's face and mouth and head. It's really weird.
And all the bad guys are like very much hamming it up for the movie. They're here to have a good time.
I gotta say, I think one of my favorite type of fight choreographies that I love to see is the using anything that you can get your hands on fight style.
It's very Jackie Chan.
He's not, this martial artist. No. He just, like, they're all like punching him, like, why aren't you going down? What the hell is going on?
Sure.
And he, is putting himself in these situations where he's just like, all right, well, I guess I've been stabbed now.
Yeah.
And everything that's given to us to tell us about his character has a payoff. Yeah. In a way that is really appreciated as a writer, as a filmmaker, and enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Because, you hear that he has this medical condition, so he can't feel pain. Okay, it makes it easier for him to fight. Okay, he has had to learn, like, field medicine because he'll be like, oh, I've burned my hand. It's easier to do this than just to go to the hospital.
Like his house is full of books about things he studied.
Exactly.
And things he's like prepared himself for.
Like the pens all have little stoppers on them so he doesn't accidentally like stab himself through it, not recognizing that he's hurt himself. Loved the fight choreography. I didn't get tired or bored. Sometimes it can be a little gratuitous if you're watching an action movie. And
it's high concept in this way that you wonder, how do they milk this? He can't feel pain. How many things can you think of to, fill out a whole movie's worth of action scenes?
You can think of quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. So, but also keeping it fun and interesting in a fun, creative way.
Like at one point when he's trying to track down the bank robbers, he finds himself in the house of one of them, and they're like a doomsday prepper. So they've set up all these like traps
in the trailer,
things for him, and it was just really funny to watch him be like, crossbow. Of course there's a crossbow here. And the thing about Jack Quaid is that if you want to, like, and I think it's fun to talk about this, like we talked about this a little bit with Madam Web, but nepotism is a big conversation, and nepo babies are a big conversation topic in pop culture right now.
But I haven't seen a lot of that around this, or Jack
no,
Quaid
I haven't either. But I just think it's important to note that, he does come from a successful family. His mother's Meg Ryan, his father's Dennis Quaid.
Sure.
But he really is carving out a place for himself as a great actor.
Majorly,
and a dynamic actor. Yes, he does kind of play the similarly like bumbling nice guy, but he does it through different lenses that always make it feel very new and appreciated by the audience at the time.
Novocaine doesn't feel like he's just Huey kind of thing.
No,
it doesn't feel. I was worried about that in the trailer.
Me too.
We're just kind of watching Huey be a bad.
But Huey happens to have
like, no.
invulnerability essentially.
Sure.
It's like no, he is his own person, and all of his characters deserve their own little spotlight in the sun. And I think that that's a really great testament to him as an actor.
Sure, I agree.
So this is coming from the directing duo Dan Burke and Robert Olson, who have a couple of movies under their belt, most notably one of my favorite films, Villains, which is a Skarsgård number, if you guys are Bill Skarsgård fans. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I didn't know that going into the movie that those were who were directing it, but it really makes sense because they have this really cool eye for that unexpected twist that, we've all seen. If you found your way to this page, you've probably watched a lot of movies. You have your favorites, you have your tropes that you are willing to let, go, and then others that irritate you to no end. And this movie, their directing style and their writing ability harnesses those and subverts them in a really impressive, expectating way. So this is definitely a film for fans of Villains. Also, it made me feel reminiscent of Baby Driver as well.
It's got to be
the stakes are very high, but there are also consequences to said actions. So the situation isn't happening in a vacuum. It is happening in a world that we can similarly recognize close to our own, which I enjoy because I love happenstance situations. You find out you get thrown into something random, and because of your ability to remember historical facts or Marvel movies, you can find yourself out of said situation. So I love concepts like that, and I think that they do a really good job of harnessing that.
Yeah, and having fun doing it.
Having fun doing it.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting time in filmmaking right now because you have movies like Anora and Substance that are pushing the bounds of what we expect filmmaking to be.
Lower budgeted filmmaking.
Lower budget, new and unique directors. And then you get the trailer for Freakier Friday, which, as TJ very acutely said, looks like a Super Bowl ad. It's just
I'm not the first person to make that observation.
And saturated, but to what end?
To that effect, I mean, if we're bringing up Freakier Friday as far as like that aesthetic,
as an example,
there's lots of great video essays that break down kind of this conversation around the look that we're getting out of movies and television. That I think the conversation happens when it comes to how much digital is involved, how much post-production is really involved, and really like making things, how adaptable the footage has to be between a screen, a theater, a phone, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a bigger conversation that we are, not the best equipped for. So I'll throw some links down to the resources I found. I'd love to recommend other channels too.
All I'm trying to say is that it felt like I was watching a movie.
Sure.
And it felt like it was fun to see it in theaters because this is a movie that will probably be on streaming in a little while. So let's dip into some spoiler territory.
Skip to this timestamp if you don't want spoilers. This timestamp right here, baby.
Right here. Not over here. Not this timestamp.
Not that timestamp. That timestamp has the spoilers, actually.
And
that timestamp is just Asha fixing her makeup.
Yeah.
Don't go to that one.
Yeah, don't do that one. That's just all the outtakes of that. As he is chasing down his new love interest, Cherry. Sorry.
This is a twist, by the way. So if you haven't seen the movie, you probably should skip to that timestamp because it's a real twist.
This is a real twist.
Spoilers.
The woman that he is trying to rescue, Sherry, is in on the heist.
She's in.
The lead ringleader of this is her brother.
Yeah.
Which is devastating.
And she was schmoozing our lead because she wanted the bank code, not so much that she was, which I was worried about.
I know,
when it happened,
me too.
Because it undercuts his motivation. Like they have
I felt the same way. Yes. I was like, I'm worried that this is gonna then when he catches up to them and this is revealed, it's like, well, I just killed. I've caused so much property damage. I've murdered two people, horribly brutalized two others.
Yeah.
How am I gonna come to reconciliation with the fact that I now have blood on my hands for a woman that is probably not really worth it? But I think that
it recovered
in this way, and that's kind of what reminded me of the Baby Driver, the reminiscent of that there are consequences to her actions. Her involvement do land her in jail by the end of the movie. And she also has a crisis of conscience. She's like, they've done jobs before, but no one ever got killed. Or if they did get killed, her hands were clean of it. So it led her to like kind of have the moral high ground. This situation unfortunately leads to her boss's brains being blown out right in front of her. And this guy that she actually does start to develop real feelings for getting hurt and caught up in the middle of it.
Well, like it was dicey because she our hero Novocaine charges his way through the movie and finally makes it to the garage where our lead villain and the sister are hiding to make their escape. And Jack Quaid comes in, and some fighting happens, and she's like, she just has this line of like, what was happening was real. I wasn't faking it, kind of thing. It's just like this quick little is that enough to get us? But it's more so her actions later on of like saving him,
her actions,
saving the police officer that gets shot and stuff. I mean, we're in spoiler territory.
Well, yeah. So he goes through all these situations to get the information of where these guys are, who these guys are. Tracks them down.
I really like the tattoo shop scene.
I love the tattoo shop scene.
That's a great scene. That actor's great.
I love the ingenuity of being like, this guy doesn't have a phone, he doesn't have an ID, he has tattoos, maybe it's distinct.
Sure.
And he tracks down everybody. He tracks down her and her brother, and is obviously finds out the truth that she was in on it.
Yep.
And the brother's able to get the upper hand.
Cops
show up.
Lost.
All is lost.
The all is lost moment.
And then the cops show up and shoot the brother, and then they didn't kill him, so he has a nice little Lazarus moment, which I liked. Kills the quippy, fun cop that had some of the best lines in the movie, and shoots the other one. And then as he escapes in the ambulance that has Novocaine in the back,
handcuffed
to a stretcher, which is great, by the way. Great choice. The sister chooses to save the cop, chase down the brother with the best friend in the backseat. So that I think really redeems her, allows her to. And we get, the fun thing is, like, this is so much fun to think about as writers yourself. How do you give those little moments of character to these characters that we don't get to spend a lot of time with directly? How do you show it? You show it by her knowing how to drive like a frickin' bat out of hell and say something like, I used to do cars, I don't anymore, We get this kind of fun little like quippy lines of like, how did this character end up in this situation, and how did she end up in a bank? Obviously, this is her job. She's a booster and she's a bit of a con artist, but the truth of it is that her feelings for Novocaine overwhelmed that, and overwhelmed her loyalty to her brother, who she eventually catches up to, fights with to defend Novocaine, and allowing him to kill him in a really epic way.
It's great. We won't spoil that one, at least.
I won't spoil that.
I do feel that like if I had a criticism,
which you don't,
buckle up.
Traitor!
I think maybe like the way to keep the movie happening strains just a little bit. There's a bit of strain of like, does that make the most sense, or like, is that the most logical thing to do? It's like,
can you give me a scene?
I'm trying to think like, okay, he chases the guy down into the kitchen and kills him, and then the cops are on his tail, and they hold him on the phone, and they're like, you should turn yourself, and he's like, if it was your daughter, would you do that? Kind of, it's like, that's good enough, and it's like, I guess I don't have very good examples.
Yeah, you don't.
And I'm not saying it's like a glaring issue.
No, I get it.
I'm not saying that at all. I just feel like there's these tiny little threads that are like, this is just for the sake of keeping the movie going.
Yeah.
And it's
Here's
subtle,
the thing.
but
I don't mind that she's not a perfect
No, and that's the
I
thing.
love that she is flawed and has done bad things, because now they're kind of the same.
It makes it a little more, especially by the very end of the movie, a more interesting ending. Okay, maybe that's to my point.
Oh, yeah?
Jack Quaid, like Novocaine laying in the hospital, and it's like, by the way, we cleared a lot of the charge. He ran around and killed like 3 guys.
Who killed a bunch of cops?
Sure,
like,
sure,
I'm
they're
sorry.
cop killers.
That's gonna.
But like no jail time.
Nobody's gonna want to prosecute that.
No jail time.
He got 8 months.
He got 8. No, he did. Did he go to jail?
He said 8 months.
8 months.
8 months, and then a year of probation, and then like 5 years of probation.
And then some probation, but like killing 3
I'm sorry.
people.
I'm sorry.
It's a lot. He chased
3
them down.
Cop killers. No one in their right mind is gonna want to prosecute. I'm sorry. I watch a lot of SVU. It's not propaganda. It's just the truth.
I mean, it is propaganda.
People don't give it. Well, no. I meant like what I am saying is not.
Oh, you're not.
What I watch, it absolutely is propaganda. But I'm just saying, no one's gonna want to prosecute that guy. That guy who killed my friend Johnny. Let him off. Let him off.
I'll concede some aspect of that. But he should be in jail for life for running down and killing 3 people. So anyway.
He made it look so good. So they're like, it's fine.
He's such a charmer.
He's such a charmer.
I do want to bring up, this is also a writer that when you look up his IMDb doesn't have that much under his belt either.
Love.
So we love that.
Love.
The stuff that he did write is like made for TV type territory, at least the couple of credits that I saw. So I don't know. It's just really cool to have such a really solid script and really solid story.
Yeah.
All things considered, for someone that I feel like is maybe still kind of entering the game, or maybe they're older and because I found like a producer credit somewhere. So maybe they're a producer that's trying out, that's ready to like show off a script that they've been sitting on for a while or something like that.
I can see that.
I'm sure there's some fun behind the scenes that elaborates more on where this story came from.
And I love that. I love that he had this idea, found some directors that wanted to run with it, and they kind of nailed it.
Yeah, a great time at the movies.
So if you want to have a great time at the movies, watch some fun Jackie Chan-esque slapsticky kung fu. A lot more violent though. This is definitely the movie for you.
Yeah, what's your rating? Where do you sit with 1 through 5?
Oof. I might have to go 4. It's really good. I really liked it.
I'm feeling a 4 too.
I'm
feeling a 4.
liked it.
It was like the humor hit, the action's fun. It's a well-paced movie. Didn't really feel bored. Wasn't
chocolate and vanilla swirl.
And then a 5 is with sprinkles. On top. Sure. But yeah, 4. I think 4 out of 5 feels
great. 4 is really, so definitely check it out if you're like...
in theaters. I feel like if you watched it streaming, it might have ended up being a 3.5 or something.
I completely agree.
I think the theater experience with an audience laughing and applauding added an extra fun element of like, man, this was great.
So our message to you guys is, get out to your local theater.
Get your ass to the theaters. Or we'll fight you.
Or we'll get you. You think this is makeup? I did this to him.
Please, no more. Actually, I can't feel it, so do as much as you want.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are so glad to be back. We're going to be definitely coming back with some more reviews with fun new movies that are coming out this year. If you have any recs or requests,
and if you saw this movie,
in the comments.
Hop in the comments. Let us know what you think of the movie.
Yeah,
let us know if we missed the
taste.
mark, or if you disagree with anything. But yeah, we love kind of engaging with anyone that hops in our comments. And please subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe to the video, and check us out on Instagram.
Definitely.
We're still on there. We're still on there.
We're still on there.
Try to check us out somewhere. We'll post every once in a while. But yeah, we're happy to be back, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.